instructions say, put it on the car, spacers on top of the glass. Alright, now it's time. The acid test time. Time to put it on the back of the car. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's make sure it's ready. The seals are up. Those 4 are there. I have 2 pieces of tape to line up to that are, the edge of the tape is 2 inches below my mark, so that's roughly where it should be. I should probably be just a little bit behind that. To give me room for adjustment when it settles down. There we go. Just about the right spot. These spacers, and they each have a piece of butyl tape on them so they stick. Looks like all the bolts are through the holes. Just trying to make sure I get this patch in place where it belongs. As these go in, there's some adhesive that squeezes out. Those little nylon patches don't have a real precise location. It's a matter of a little bit of an eyeball exercise here. The adhesive squeezes out, so we just wipe them down, make sure they're in the right place. So far so good, except like I got some urethane on my hands. Make sure I don't leave any handprints. Now I'm going to take the wrench and I'm going to go inside. Let's see if we can lower this down and see if it's lined up properly. Kind of need to match the edges on both sides. It's just about, the tape marks are just about right. I just need to push just a little further here. Keeps wanting to back up. I push one side and the other side moves back. Pushing them up there a little bit. Actually now, that's looking pretty good. So I'm going to take this tape off here so it's out of the way. So it doesn't get caught underneath. I think its use is complete. Kind of trying to move it just a little bit ahead of where it ought to be, knowing that the cylinders are going to want to try to push it back. I can start to tighten some things down inside. This side first. And then I'm going to try to put a couple screws at the start tight. Just try to tighten it enough that it'll stay put. Okay, good. That's working. Okay. Alright, that's lined up just about perfect. That's better. That's better. Let's get in here and tighten this side. Okay, that side's lined up pretty good. That side's lined up pretty good. Not bad. Well, I've been in and out of the car a number of times, tightening, aligning, and it looks like it's in pretty good shape right now. You can see it's pretty well lined up. So now I need to jack it up, and then the next step is to torque the bolts to torque. And so I'm going to set the camera back down here. So far everything seems to be lined up pretty good. I've been using a ratchet on them, which is what they tell you to do actually. And everything's fairly snug. So So now I'm going to have to move to a torque wrench, and forward center goes first. Now, it's going to be a little bit more fun. I've got a 1/4 inch, it's a 13 millimeter and a 1/4 inch. The fun part will be that the torque is 11 foot-pounds. So I have a 1/4 inch that does 80 inch-pounds, which is like 7 foot-pounds. I have a full-size half drive, but man, 11 foot-pounds is way down in the mud. So I'm going to have to see how this is going to work. My third option is that I have a fish scale, and if you're careful and you do it right, you can use a fish scale as a torque measuring device. But let me start. Let's see how far off I am first, and whether I've got these things anywhere close. I'm getting there. When I say I'm getting there, they're up. I've just about got this wrench maxed out already. I'm going to try and use my half drive and see how close we get. I don't want to over torque it and break the window. That's about it right there. About 11. I would imagine there's some tolerance on that. I mean, normally you don't have a single number, but I guess the answer is you don't want to go too far. I'm basically going to about 10 on this first pass, and then I'll come back and take another run at it probably and check. Torque wrench really is less accurate down at the bottom, so for a second try. Okay, it says the front ones, then the back ones, and then you can get the ends any way you like. I prefer to use the little wrench as a start, just to make sure that I'm not too far out of bounds. Alright, well that's 80. We're in Newton meters, it's 9 Newton meters, and you go to 16, so it's a little over halfway. But the caution is, if you over torque these guys, you can break the window, so I certainly don't want to do that. And through this process of torquing, you're crushing the butyl tape down, so it takes a little bit to get it down. The rear ones are more metal to metal than the front ones. The front ones have spacers and other things that you gotta collapse. So this side, the foam is touching the glass very nicely. On this side, you get about to here, about 2/3 of the way across, and then there's a little bit of a gap in the foam, which probably doesn't hurt anything, but one would think that as you torque things down and you crush the sealants, that it ought to come down and touch. Yeah, a little bit. There's still a small gap here, but it's getting better. Okay, well, to try this with the fish scale and just double check my torque wrench. So I've got a 13mm end wrench, and it's 7 inches from center to center. So if I put 19 pounds on here at 7 inches, that's 11 foot-pounds, if my math comes out right. So what we'll do is, see if this works here. Start on this one. Let me get the right direction. Okay. So then we'll put the hook on here. I'll give it a pull and we'll see what it takes to move it. 17. Oh. There's 19. Okay. Put it around here, and you have to pull at right angles, square to the wrench to make it accurate. 15, 16, 17, 18. So my torque wrench was reading a little bit low. Well, it's better than a little bit high. Alright. Pull, 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 pull. 16, 18, 19. I guess I really should have done that from the center. Let me start there. 13, 15, 17, 18, 19. There goes 19. Okay, that one's tight. These guys are all tight. That's as torqued as they're going to get. The fish scale method works pretty good. I mean, you got to trust your fish scale is good, but that one's a 0 to 50. So if you're running around 20, you're about in the mid-band, and that's where it's designed to be accurate. So, all right, I'm going to let this down and let it sit and relax for a few hours. It looks like it lines up pretty nice. Now I still have to put it up and install the cylinders, and I need to reinstall the latch in the center. But for the moment, I'm going to leave it right where it is. She looks like she lined up really nice, and I got it all torqued and it's still lined up. Pretty good job. I'll finish the trimming out at a later time here, but I'm gonna let this sit. And we'll let it settle in. It seems to me that even though the foam isn't touching, the panels have good alignment. The height here is right. So the glass is sitting on the weather strippings, and the panels all line up pretty nice. So the fact that the foam doesn't quite reach, I'm not going to worry too much. So that is how you remove the panel and make the back end line up again. Really good.